First, we have the Grimpoteuthis buckinectes, or the Dumbo octopus. It was named after a cartoon elephant character from a really old Disney movie called Dumbo, who was famous for using his big ears to fly. In reality, the Dumbo octopus uses its ear-like fins to propel through the water and steers using its webbed arms. Discovered by Voss and Percy in 1990, the Grimpoteuthis buckinectes live in the deep open ocean down to the depths of at least 4,000 meters and perhaps much deeper. Species of this animal are believed to exist on the deep ocean floor in all oceans of the world. Specific species have been found in the water surrounding New Zealand, Australia, Monterey Bay, Oregon, Philippines, Martha's Vineyard, Papua, New Guinea, and Azores. They are carnivores and diet on crustaceans, bivalves, worms, and copepods. They are foraging predators and eat pelagic invertebrates that swim above the sea floor. As there are few large predators in the deep sea, Dumbo octopus's primary predators are diving fishes and marine mammals including tunas, sharks, and dolphins. As a result of having rare encounters with predators, they lack ink sacs unlike most octopi. Additionally, they have huge eyes that can at times measure a third of the width of their heads, which aid in capturing the tiny amount of light that reaches them from the surface. The Dumbo octopus has no official protection status, but it is considered a species of concern by many conservation organizations. They do not face threats from humans due to their distance from the surface. Right now, their conservation is listed as least concern by the IUCN Red List. That's all for me. Signing off, Seafood Pariah.
Next up, we have the Metacephalophaeri, or the flamboyant cuttlefish. They were discovered in 1885 by Dr. William Evans Hoyle. They are distributed in tropical Indo-Pacific waters from southern New Guinea to northern Australia, and the Philippines is included too. They reside in shallow sand and mud substrates around coral reefs, in depths between 3 to 86 meters, so they're fairly shallow. The flamboyant cuttlefish is a crabtastic predator to crustaceans and small fishes. Unlike many cephalopods, they have diurnal activity as they hunt for prey during the day, and they use two long and elastic feeding tentacles that can extend around 2 to 3 times its body length to capture prey. They are also highly poisonous, with toxins as lethal as that of a blue-ringed octopus. Because of their predatory nature, their ecological niche can be to regulate the population of these crustaceans and small fishes. The conservation status of the flamboyant cuttlefish is data deficient since they haven't been evaluated by the IUCN Red List. However, pollution, overfishing, and habitat destruction all harm this unique species, such as when bottom trawling destroys the natural seafloor and its habitat. So, to keep the knowledge of this unique cuttlefish alive, let's appreciate one of its standout features. These captivating cuttlefish got their name from the many colors they can display, from pink, yellow, brown, orange, and many more. In fact, they have some of the best camouflage in the animal kingdom, with their fast neural control over the chromatophores that enables them to change colors in less than a second. They use this to their advantage in many situations. When they're threatened by predators, they don't run away. They actually use their camouflage as their main defense mechanism. It flashes its bright colors along with rippling dark bands and pulses its fins to produce a dizzying pattern which startles or even hypnotizes the predator. They also use their camouflage to disorient and catch prey, deter predators by warning them that they're poisonous, and even attract potential mates. Male flamboyant cuttlefish use their vibrant colors to impress potential female mates. Once a female expresses interest in mating, the male and female mate in sheltered dens, where the female lays its eggs and cements them on the crevices of the den, in which the female dies shortly after. The flamboyant cuttlefish actually doesn't have a very long lifespan, but the flamboyant cuttlefish is nonetheless an astonishing species, and we can help in their conservation by learning and spreading awareness of them, like right now. Anyways, that's all for me. On to the next species.
Hey, it's Sashimi, introducing to you one of my ancestors, my greatest grandfather to be exact, the piglet squid. The Helicocranchiopiferae, founded by Massey in 1907, otherwise known as the piglet squid, actually got its name from its large siphon that looks like the snout of a piglet. This certain species is part of the Aegopsina order where I reside, and also a paralarvae, which are young cephalopods in the planktonic stage between a hatchling and subadult, where it goes to the lower mesopelagic depths. This can be found in the Pacific Ocean as well as Atlantic Ocean, ranging from tropical to polar waters. Piglet squids tend to stay within the depths ranging between 1 to 964 meters in the pelagic zone of the ocean. It can also live at depths of just 1 meter to more than a kilometer below the surface. Preferably, they would like to stay in areas that contain high concentrations of dissolved salts and other total dissolved solids. Its diet was initially thought to be preying on planktons as filter feeders due to its siphon-like mouth shape and body size. However, it was found that piglet squids have the same diet as other squids, fishes, and sadly their own kind, squids. You might be wondering more about the body of the piglet squid. The exposed siphon of the piglet squid is also used for breathing and propulsion, which fills itself with water. Another is that they have smaller tentacles located at the top of their eyes. They also have a transparent body, which is common among glass squids. As a result, they tend to swim upside down. They also keep themselves buoyant by regulating the levels of ammonium and sodium ions throughout its body. All in all, there still seems to be inadequate information regarding this species, and therefore cannot be known if there are certain threats towards them or its conservation status according to the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. Its sole threat could be being eaten by larger predators and their lifespan. Their lifespan is greatly affected by their reproduction. In terms of reproducing, the male grabs onto the female and the male dies off after reproducing. The female will also die after she has laid her eggs and brooded them. While they risk being eaten by larger predators, they are more likely to die even before being eaten. They really don't live that long.
As we sadly move on from the new profound news about piglet squids' lifespans, it is time to showcase another fellow squid that may or may not have been distantly related to one another, maybe even interacted once or twice in each other's lifespans. The Cephalopods cepioidea, more commonly referred to as Caribbean reef squid, was originally discovered by Blainville in the year 1823. This species is part of the Theothida order and would typically be found to be distributed in the West Indian Islands and the central and southern parts of the American coasts that are, given its name, adjacent to the Caribbean Sea. The Caribbean reef squid would like to stay in clear marine waters that are high in saline. The depth and specific habitat they would like to reside in is actually correspondent to the current growth stage the species would be in. Starting from when they are newly hatched squid, they would be 10 meters above the sea bottom, or approximately 20 to 100 centimeters beneath the surface. Juvenile squids, on the other hand, would like to stay in shallow areas where turtle grass is present. For non-breeding adult squids, they would linger in mid-depth areas of the ocean, while breeding adults would be seen to be relatively close to coral reefs. Just like the other cephalopods that were previously mentioned, they too are carnivorous, deceptive, and voracious predators. They too exhibit a certain pattern when they hunt their prey. During the day, they would tend to hunt in schools but feast one at a time. On the other hand, they would do such activities individually during the night. They would commonly feast on small fish and arthropods, specifically small shrimp, during both day and night, and would less commonly feast on small cruds, strictly at night, and radar sardines during both day and night. Although this species is not likely to be endangered, it has yet to be thoroughly researched by the IUCN. However, due to fishermen using this certain species as bait in some Caribbean communities, water pollution and disruption of coral reefs due to human activities are threats. Something special about Caribbean reef squids would be their ability to exhibit both nocturnal and diurnal activity, whereas cephalopods are primarily nocturnal. They also have the ability to quickly change color as a form of camouflage and communication.
Although they are semi-burrows, I still hope that my fellow far distant cousins had the opportunity to cruise the coasts of the beach shore or maybe even sunbathe at least once in their lifetime.
Though its name implies a blood-sucking carnivorous predator, the vampire squid, scientific name Vampiroteuthis infernalis, is actually one of the only cephalopods that is a detritivore. It feeds primarily on marine snow, organic material that falls to the deeper levels of the ocean from higher waters. The vampire squid finds itself prey to many different predators, which include sharks, whales, other cephalopods, fishes, and sea lions. But as for habitat and geographic distribution, these cephalopods inhabit temperate and tropical regions in waters 200 to 3,600 meters deep, residing in the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones. At waters this deep, the vampire squid has the highest affinity for oxygen of any known cephalopod species. Although, this squid is not actually a true squid and is classified in its own order, Vampiromorphida, instead of order Teuthida like other squid species. Actually, the vampire squid is more closely related to octopuses, being in the same superorder as them, Octopodiformes. There are many other differences between the vampire squid and true squids. For example, the vampire squid doesn't produce ink. Instead, it produces a bioluminescent mucus cloud to distract predators. On top of this, it can pull its arms over its body, exposing the spiky, fleshy appendages on the back of its arms called cirri. Marine biologists call this defensive threat response pineapple rose. If you observe the eyes of the creature, you'll notice it has the largest eyes to body size proportions of any living animal. Now, the average body length of a vampire squid is about 15 centimeters or 6 inches, with the females being slightly larger than the males. And unlike most other cephalopods, vampire squids mate multiple times in their lifetime. Currently, the vampire squid is one of the most elusive cephalopod species being studied, and as such, is not yet considered to be endangered or threatened. They also do not currently pose any threat or danger to humans, being so far away from the surface. However, there are many threats to the vampire squid even from so deep underwater. Ocean warming, overfishing, decreasing levels of oxygen, pollution, and other industrialization activities occurring in deep waters all have adverse effects on vampire squids.
Last, but definitely not the least, we have the Nautilus macromphalis, aka the belly button nautilus, which is the smallest species among the dense six-axid ones under the order Nautilidae. Discovered by Storer in 1848, it is characterized by the lack of callus, a thickened part of the shell, which exposes the umbilicus and more of the inner coils of the shell. They could be found up to 500 meters deep in the continental shelf in slope waters associated with coral reefs around New Caledonia and northeastern Australia. At night, they rise to shallow waters to prey on small fish and crustaceans, using their 90 tentacles surrounding its eyes and mouth, covered in mucus, ridges, and grooves instead of suckers. Along this, they have their beak-like jaws and their heightened sense of smell and touch to make up for their poor vision. In turn, they get preyed on by larger marine animals including, unfortunately, octopi. Unlike other cephalopods, they have an external shell and underneath a chambered cavity containing gases, which they can adjust to alter their buoyancy. A siphon or a hyponym lines the inner surface of the shell, which exposes water to allow them to move via jet propulsion. Back then, the Nautilus family was protected under Appendix 2 of CITES, where its involvement in international trade, where its unique shells were often used for ornaments and jewelry. It wasn't evaluated by the IUCN Red List, but the general consensus seemed to consider it endangered due to rapidly increasing threats of overfishing and ocean acidification. Petitions and propositions were made for better protection for these gorgeous creatures. But sadly, despite living through multiple extinction events since the Cambrian era, these once living fossils are now a distant memory. R.I.P. great twice removed Grandma Jelly. Mature Nautilus, get naughty once a year and die shortly after brooding and spawning. And with her living a full 20 years, she was single, but at least she was free. Well, I guess that's all the time we have. I sure hope you guys had fun learning about where and who we might have come from, because I certainly did. Though it's sad that we lost a lot of these creatures over time, I think it serves as a valuable reminder to be better appreciative and protective of the biodiversity we have now. I like to be optimistic. Anyways, see y'all next time. Tentacrew out.